Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're doing a spear only challenge where I take 3 separate kits into Goblin Caves and Ruins, see what kind of trouble I can get myself into. So, the whole method or theory behind this is going to be, I have 3 individual kits. Yes, this is pre-level 15, so these are all from the vendor or found in raid. And I'm going to go through a white spear to a green spear, and then we're just going to pretend that all attributes 37 damage spear is our blue spear. And then our kits, yes, we have some green gear, plus 3 weapon damage on those trousers, and our upgraded green kit. And then we have some blue items like this blue all attributes leather gloves. And to round out that third and final kit, we have blue pants, which are extremely nice. We do happen to find a blue spear along this video, so it does come in pretty handy for that final run. Essentially, I have 3 lives. I'm going to take 1 raid into Goblin Caves, and then we're going to jump into Ruins. And if I survive Ruins as a solo, that kit has done its job. We're going to see how many kills we can get with each kit as I try out this kind of new challenge to me for the first time. There's a million different ways I could take this, and I already have some amazing ideas after this one was so fun. And speaking of fun, I thank you all for stopping in, for the few of you that did the Twitch stream. I'm going to try to get some of those going more often, now that I have a kind of separate space to do that. We did get rolled by Barbarian. I was super juiced. And yes, we did run Spear for a couple hours in Ruins on post level 15 lobbies. So it was a tough experience, but we did find some minor successes with Spear. Spear is a weapon I kind of love and wish it was better on fighter class. We're going to put it through its paces tonight against, as you guessed it, quite a few Warlocks. This poor Warlock, I thought I was about to get blow corruptioned, like 90% of my HP gone, so I popped Second Wind. And he just stands there. So that's the first kill. And I will say, I kind of felt a little remorse for this guy, as he was just getting started. However, I've been blow corruption falchioned enough times for that remorse to kind of only last for so long. Immediately after this, we make our way to the large room, and we find a cleric keeping his distance, probably waiting for a judgment or a holy strike. Push in, trying to get some spear jabs. He backs off. We hear some steps to our right. Another Warlock. And now that I'm missing Second Wind, I need to make sure I dodge as many hits as possible. We end up finishing this guy off and only really taking damage from the Hydra that was spawned on the bridge beside us. Now we have to deal with, likely, another Warlock. This guy appears to know who I am, but rather than make this extremely awkward, we're just gonna go for it. And as we're chasing this guy down, we hear a guy getting up behind us. And it's a super unfortunate situation where we get clubbed by blow corruption. I don't know where the hitbox is to block, but we try to block it. And it is not fun being chased by a Phantomized Warlock when he knows you're literally 20 HP from death. And he can pretty much wait until that blow corruption is back, as you're just hearing again, once Phantomized is over. Really not ideal, and I'm really frustrated that I wasn't able to block it. I thought that staff hitbox was out to the side. As we're making our way, this Hydra actually helps us here. Seeing how I'm here to get kills, I want to see if I can win, somehow get a kill on this guy that appeared out of the darkness. So we go back in for more, hoping we can get healed up enough to maybe tank one more blow corruption and see what happens. Not ready to leave this fight quite yet, and this is only our white kit, so I'm not super worried about losing it. We missed a spear thrust. Blow corruption chunks our health once again, as I wasn't able to block it, and the hitbox on it, I have no idea where it is. So now we are once again in serious trouble. Doing a little bit of ring around the rosy. We try to get some distance on this guy and hope we get lucky like last time. But he is chasing me down. Sprint is just coming back available, and I am running out of space. Unfortunately, a blow corruption staff is actually better than any decent spear. It's just for that one hit, 1v1, man. So now I don't feel too terribly bad about killing that Warlock early on. And we need to throw on our green kit and see if we can survive Goblin Caves. And once again, more Warlocks. If I can survive this one, we can get into ruins where I think the PvP would be incredibly interesting. We start up here. I know there's a spawn below me, or at least sometimes there can be a spawn just below you. And we find some axes, which is a huge help. Do a bit of quick looting, see if we can find anything of value. Gonna clear out the stuff that harasses you, and see if we can find another kill down below. And sure enough, we hear a Warlock with Blow Corruption, and we're not gonna let this happen once again. Ridding this game of a few Warlocks, or a few geared Warlocks, I'm pretty okay with. I put this up to 3 kills, but I'm yearning for some really good PvP that's soon to come. One thing of note, I did forget to bring meds on this run, so luckily this guy had a potion on him, which should go a long way in keeping us alive. We try to survive this run of Goblin Caves with our green spear. We do still have second wind, we didn't waste it too early. It's something with second wind I always find, getting the timing right when you know you're going to be taking a lot of damage is so important. Especially as a solo player, you really only get one good moment unless you're bringing a whole bunch of campfires. Just a quick little tip you may have noticed, you can block most archers or bolas with the spear as long as you hold it like straight in your face to where the arrows usually land, directly onto the spear. Moving into the bigger room, we're going to do the same strategy here with this archer. Just to prove I'm not making stuff up. It's actually quite helpful, meaning you can space out most range mobs, don't need to get super close to them because you have spear's reach, and if they do shoot at you, you can simply block it. One thing I will also include, I'm a big fan of Adrenaline Rush, and I think there is a place for it if you're doing 1v1 PvP with the spear. But like we're going to see here, second wind can be quite useful. We have a cleric who's going to have a lot of sustain, a lot of chip damage, you could say. He's not going to burst us down super quickly. And if he does judgment us, we should be able to get a second wind off and have enough time to recover any HP. In situations like this, second wind can be a huge game changer. We just have to make sure we don't take too much damage before we get in melee range and start dealing with that mace. Giving him a bit of time to kind of cool off. As I noticed he was popping a lot of buffs, I'm hoping we can catch him when he's rebuffing, or at least a little bit distracted. He seems pretty committed to this engagement that's about to ensue. We miss our first spear thrust, but land the second. Fortunately, we don't catch top of his head with that overhead, but we follow it up with a couple more swings as we kind of juke side to side and space this guy out. Unfortunately for Cleric, landing hits with the Morningstar can be tricky. I'm playing a pretty light setup on this fighter, and I did have Sprint activated for most of that fight. So he'd been hitting a moving target, and that pretty much won us that engagement. As we missed a few shots, but he missed a lot more. And we could also space ourselves back. And one thing, it's kind of like warming up Spear. One thing with Spear that's always better, it's backing away from your opponent rather than walking into them. Because you always lose a lot of damage to the sour spot the closer you are to your enemy. And you can't get the reach advantage if you're not stepping away from them. So timing when to step in and step out is so important on the Spear. And we're going to see examples of this coming up as the PvP is just getting started. On the PvE side, we end up taking some unnecessary damage, some spiders, and a horde of mobs that I wasn't expecting to be there, thinking the cleric had cleared them. And as we enter this large room, we hear a guy above us. We have one more player at least close by. Trying to listen for what his story is or what he's trying to do here. We get our protection potion ready, just in case this is a melee engagement. Sure enough, we see a bard running around doing bard stuff. I have no idea what song he's playing. Then we also get a fighter class who goes his separate ways. We may be fighting 2 players here, as I don't intend to be friendly. Using our protection pot, we're gonna push this. We're gonna push this bard because I do not like what he's doing. Not sure what song he played, but he's definitely buffing himself or trying to hinder whatever I'm doing. He eventually backs off, and I don't have the movement speed to catch him right now, as Sprint is on cooldown. Fighter enters the room from the door close by, and this is going to be another little battle. Even though this guy said chill, don't really have, like I said, being friendly on my mind. Using the spacing of a spear, that guy really had no chance. And I start to feel a little bit bad about taking out some of these players in Goblin Caves, but he had some okay stuff. This wasn't a starter kit. He just didn't use the distance and spacing all that well on the armoring sword. Still got that bard behind us. We did take some damage here. Gotta get some meds rolling, or else we're gonna be a pretty close duel against a buffed up bard. Or so I thought. Taking out that bard puts us up to 6 kills so far on this challenge, as we end up having a full, completely full inventory of loot. So we grab the health shrine, and then move on to finish looting fighter. One thing I am a little bit regretting is the fact that I didn't check out that war mall, as I hovered over it briefly. But after that, we clear some spiders, then move on out of this raid. I think I still have it stuck in my head that war mall is useless. However, that is pretty far from the truth right now, considering how strong Barbarian is while swinging that giant weapon. I have had some limited success before using Spear to block war mall, and then you get spacing. That is in a 1v1 situation, and is that short video of a 33 damage spear versus a geared barb. So you can be successful, but it's all about spacing and movement speed. And oftentimes, if barb has any type of team, they are either being hasted or bard buffed into your face on top of having rage. So it's very, very difficult to adjust yourself properly. I might have to start adjusting this inventory, considering I'm making more loot on this class than I am on my level 20 fighter, mainly because playing runes, as people saw on the stream, even with decent gear, it is incredibly difficult. Teams are running some exceptionally high valued stuff because runes has such good loot right now. Speaking of loot, I did find a blue spear like I mentioned earlier, so we're going to use that instead of our +2 all. And +2 all is going to be considered our green kit spear now. And considering I found all this gear before level 6, I have faith that most players, even early on, with 1 or 2 good raids in Goblin Caves, can get pretty serious stuff. Practicing our block just to get a feel of it. We get kind of pinched into this corner by the skelly. And other than that, we kind of move our way into the middle of the map, as I like to think this is still kind of a hot spot, and you get to position yourself nicely with the bridge and protection shrine. So we're going to make our way over to that side, hoping we can catch sight of a player or somebody to chase down. Grabbing protection shrine, grabbing loot from a skelly we killed. Start to get the feeling that once again, runes is quite scary, as a team of 2 could arrive at any moment. Making our way back into the little main center area, I do realize that move shrine is close by, or speed shrine. That thing is exceptionally strong. Almost too strong, as we may be about to witness. Hearing footsteps close by, I'm going to open this door and see what's going on. Hearing a barbarian, this could be a war mall fight I've been waiting for. We hit him with a throwing axe, hit him with another throwing axe. Meaning he's hurting a little bit at least. Trying to avoid the arrows from the back. We're ready to dodge his first swing. However, the movement speed we have with Speed Shrine is crazy, giving us enough movement to chase down this ranger. And earlier, I didn't even have to block to avoid the Warmaul swing, as I was fully ready for it, and I know I would have blocked it, and then tapped the guy in the head. Movement speed just allowed us to basically avoid the swing altogether, and interestingly enough, we find a wolf pelt. Something I've been trying to find, and I've been trying to hunt wolves on my level 20 character. Like I said, I've kind of just been getting demolished by teams, so it's very difficult to find them. I feel like they're worth a decent amount of money, and I'm starting to find some incredible gear on my early level class, more so than my main level, or my main class. Solo fighter right now against geared squads, whether it be solo, duo, trio. Geared anybody is a challenge, unless you're really committed to running full plate and just pray you don't run into a wizard. everyone else is also wearing really, really strong padded tunics, regal gambesons, heavy leather leggings. So you don't really have any advantage in the armor department, which is what makes this class somewhat unique. Before we can dilly-dally too much and enjoy the spoils of what we just received, we have another warlock. It sounds like someone close by in the bushes to my right. I can't get a good look at them. I don't know what class I'm actually fighting here. We're gonna slowly see if they creep in and then spear them in the face. Hearing a ranger put a trap down, we need to move, get this over with as fast as possible. Take out the warlock. We move on to the ranger who's just kind of sitting there, and if I had aimed at his head, he should have been dead. Now we got a ranger with a trap somewhere on the ground behind those barrels, stuck in the corner. Thought about jumping in there, but one trap could leave me in a really tough situation. So we're going to grab this health shrine as he also eats a few of his incredibly valuable snacks. Seeing what this guy's up to, I thought he had moved out, but he's still stuck in the darkness somewhere. It's very difficult to see, not even shooting arrows at me. I'm kind of confused what his plan is here. I know there's a hunter trap somewhere, I just don't know where. And we suck at jumping with these plate boots on. At least that's what I'm going to blame it on, so we don't make it over. So I'm going to go the real scenic route here and just break a barrel and go that way. We push him, we can't see anything. He is much better at jumping than I am and makes it out of here. We then hear a team on the bridge, so we're going to wait. Just avoid the situation for the time being. To return, see who has become victorious. See that someone had died in the kill feed, so maybe that ranger ended up getting pinched by that team. This gives us another opportunity to grab Speed Shrine, which is a very, very strong tool for this build. Making our way back over to see what's going on. See the two guys there looting. Looks like someone's body. And then they play the song, and I think that was a song of invisibility. At first, I don't really realize what had just happened. I caught just a glimpse of them disappearing. So I go over here, grab Protection Shrine, and then I start realizing they're probably invisible. I just caught a glimpse of it, so they're just standing here invisible, so let's just start jabbing and see what happens. Land some good hits on the fighter, dealing with him, and then we're one hit. So close to dying here. This is going to be very tricky, and he did not expect the full leap into a spear thrust, which ends up winning us that fight. A very, very close fight. Now we don't have a whole lot of HP, but thankfully Protection Shrine and Speed Shrine basically won us that fight once again. And Speed Shrine definitely needs some attention, considering how strong it really is. First time in a while I've really basically relied on shrines or tried to make sure I was constantly buffing myself with shrines, but if you're a solo player and you're in this area, you really got to be using them. Like, you have to be making the most of them. So we once again, full inventory loot, something I wasn't really expecting, and then we luckily checked this guy's lantern, and that is a beautiful lantern. +2 strength, decent pants as well. Then we realized we probably should check this ranger out, see if he had anything of value. Nothing too exciting, but I'm quite excited right now, at this point, to make it out alive. At first I was pretty committed to just losing all my shit every time. But now, after looting all these bodies, finding full inventories of gear, I feel like I should probably keep some of this so I can use this character to make more challenges in the future. As I push him to level 15 and beyond, I have some other ideas that I want to try to tackle as well. We're still in the thick of this one. We still have our green spear, and if we make it out of here, we can finally go and test out that blue one that we recently purchased. Grabbing Health Shrine, we've now hit every shrine like multiple times. It'll be interesting to see how much we level up, because I do think those shrines give you a little bit of experience, I think. Opening portals I know does, so I thought maybe shrines would as well. We hear guys close by, and we get a portal right beside us. And I'm checking my inventory, I'm thinking to myself, do we get greedy here? Do we go for the kills? Or do we escape with a wolf pelt, something I've never seen yet in early access? At least personally, I've never seen it. I've killed quite a few dogs, and I've never found a wolf pelt. I'm gonna take that thing home. That fight would have been an interesting one. So would have this. Crossbow wizard with a Zweihander, Blow of Corruption, Warlock. That Blow of Corruption Warlock would have been a nightmare to fight, even though I think I could properly block the Zweihander with the spear. Just have to make sure I don't let that Blow of Corruption hit me. Could have been a very interesting battle, but we made it out of here with some crazy amount of gold. We get the wolf pelt home, which is something I'm kind of excited about. And then we can try out the blue spear kit and go into Goblin Caves once again. This 2 all attribute spear did quite well. Not gonna lie, I often felt like I was probably one of the more geared players in some of these lobbies, or at least had some light gear. Some smart decisions at the merchants, a few early raids that were pretty successful, led me to all this gear. Almost forget to put our gloves on, which is another decent setup, and we have plus 10% physical bonus, physical power bonus, and that doesn't include the 5% from the spear. This will be a pretty strong build for early game Goblin Caves and Ruins. Seeing how much damage we're doing 73 damage with 1 thrust. Put 13 damage more than what I was doing last night with most of my blue spears. So this build and this setup, plus all attributes and physical damage bonus, is doing like 13 damage more than my... I think I was even running a few plus 2 alls during the stream as well. However, Goblin Caves is here. We're going to see if we can get some decent PvP. I do start to feel like maybe this build or this setup is not meant for Goblin Caves. I think if I'm doing one of these challenges in the future, I will make a stipulation that my blue gear set is Runes. If I'm pre-level 15, it's either Runes or Howling Crypts. As I was quite surprised with how successful I've been with just some pretty entry-level, I call it entry-level, but it's pretty okay or average gear. We once again see a Warlock from the start of this Goblin Caves run. Somewhat stuck in his spawn, for the time being at least. Hearing him break through means we have another Warlock duel, and even though I'm wearing some pretty strong stuff, Curse of Pain into a Blow of Corruption, pretty much death for me. Like, there's no way I survive it, so we luckily found some Franciscas. We can throw some axes. Try to block one here. We get hit in the back by an arrow from must have been from Goblin as we miss our spear thrust as we land on the ground. Unfortunately for us, this guy is just running away. Don't really feel like chasing him, and I feel like should have probably found a way to make that kill or complete that kill. However, we're down at the bottom. He's heading up, getting chased by a mob, so we're still in a better situation here. I did not like the fact that I was at half HP, about to push him into potentially a Blow of Corruption staff to the face. I think that staff does some crazy damage, or at least Blow of Corruption does. Level 1, as we've seen in the first raid I took in this challenge. But, just commands a lot of respect for literally a base kit player in melee combat. See, a Goblin Warrior killed somebody, so I'm kind of just unsure at this point, but I guess this guy ended up getting taken out by mobs. So we take a quick little rest, and then head up to see what kind of loot this guy had. At least I can grab the health pot off him, as that exchange did cost me quite a few meds, considering should have probably had a kill there. And after experiencing this and kind of realizing I don't really want to be chasing around players that are new to the game with my blue spear. So I make the decision just take that early portal and then jump into a new raid. And I think this was a decision that was probably for the better, considering the only player left is this pretty much base gear wizard. So jumping into Runes, finally with our blue kit, our blue spear, let's see if we can make some progress and add to our kill totals. We deal with some PvE in the dark, as is usual on Runes map. This guy takes a lot more hits than I was expecting, but eventually find our way into the middle of the map, where we once again grab Speed Shrine. So hugely beneficial. Always worth grabbing, and after the last couple of raids, I realized just how valuable it is on any build at all. Any setup, you can move that fast on fighter at your maximum movement speed, wearing some okay armor, but really giving you the opportunity to bob and weave with the spear It's quite nice. We then hear some players on the other side of this door, and we're going to make the most of this speedrun while we have it. So we rush in, jumping over some spiders. Try not to get stuck in them. We make our way to this wizard and take him out. Spider with a falchion is behind us. A nice block. We follow it up with a spear thrust through the shield. Chasing him down. He's now a little bit worried. Landing a headshot. Followed by a lot of missing. Mobs end up taking that guy out, which we should have very easily been able to do. Fortunately, he stepped into me, and I was expecting him to kind of step backwards. And somehow I missed the drag across on the final swing a couple times, so just some really, really bad little interaction altogether. And I think with the movement speed on my character and his movement speed as well, being almost completely naked, it was such a high mobility fight. It was so hard to track and land your swings properly. So that is probably what it's like to fight a rogue and high roller at maximum movement speed, fully 24/7. You both want to be using weapons you know you're comfortable with. We kill some mobs, clean up a few things, and we eventually go back to loot these guys, seeing what they have acquired so far in this dungeon run. Making sure we deal with these spiders. This room is exceptionally good for just some generic loot. And if that lion's chest is not locked, we're going to find hopefully something decently valuable. Even some sellables. I'm starting to get the impression that I'm going to potentially make a lot of money with this character. Something I wasn't really expecting. Really, seriously, I thought I'd just be dying each raid and had like 3 lives sort of deal. But we're lasting a lot longer than I expected with my somewhat cheap gear sets. Like I said, we did find some purple items, a few good sellables. We make our way back to the middle, trying to find some more PvP. We notice all these mobs are aggroed, something that I certainly did not do. Which likely means a team or someone speedy ran through here, and sure enough, Rogue is just beyond crossing the bridge. We're gonna wait and see what these guys are up to. Just kind of tail them a little bit and see if we can find a moment where we can kind of get involved without them knowing. Sure enough, this guy comes storming out, shouting that there's a team on the other side. Rather than fighting another guy with absolutely no gear, we're going to try to go for the 1v2, seeing if we can take on that team. Fortunately, when I'm backing up, I end up hitting the hole in the bridge, which gives me time to reset and grab Protection Shrine once again. This rogue, almost like deja vu, comes running out of there once again, and I did not realize that his teammate has not come out with him. It's very likely his poor rogue friend died in there. He explains to me I should not be going this way because there is a team. This is pretty much what I came here for with this blue spear. Seeing a ranger and hearing a warlock means we have a fight that is definitely one where I need to get as close as possible, as fast as possible. Popping Protection Shrine, we're going to try to deal with this ranger before he can react. 2 spears to the face. 2 spear thrusts to the face, sorry. Dual wielding spears I would be okay with though. We take a couple smashes from that warlock, which brings us down to half HP, and we don't have second wind, so we need to get some distance and see if we can re-engage once we get our heals back. Getting some of our meds, or burning through some of our meds, getting ourselves back full HP or close to it. We'll probably be full HP by the time we re-engage with this warlock, so we go back in. Not realizing, I had no real clue there was a res shrine this close by. This guy was trying to sneak a res in. As I hear a little bit of movement to my left. And then I realize, oh, I see what's going on here. We take this guy out.
Yeah, good job, man.
And this rogue's quite happy with us. And we've maybe turned a corner and haven't become a ruthless killer like the start of this video. Kind of transitioned away from this approach once I started to realize a lot of these guys are pretty freaking lightly geared. But overall, I feel like we've accomplished our task testing out spear and different levels of gear and how strong you can become fairly early on in Dark and Darker.
Oh, there he is.
This guy finding his friend, he's gonna go try to res him. I found a purple halberd, which may not sell for a whole lot, but I'm quite shocked with just how good of loot I'm finding. And really all it takes is 1 or 2 decent items to get the ball rolling.
Good job.
This guy's quite happy. He's pretty excited he's gonna get to res his friend. And I'm quite happy to make it out of here with, once again, a few more kills, a successful run through ruins, some nice loot, and for the first time I think ever in my Dark and Darker career, I've decided to let a rogue live, or at least be friendly to a rogue. We see one more wizard or maybe a warlock close by. He's a wizard because he's casting haste. We're going to try to block him from this portal. Backing our way into it slowly, trying to keep him on the run. These poor rogues will have to deal with him now. And so this guy just getting rezzed leaves him in a pretty tough situation. But look, I had a lot of fun with this challenge. I think it was kind of a blast. I do think in the future I'll probably make some changes so that it's more... We're going to take a decent blue kit in. I probably should be taking it in Howling Crypts maybe. Or at least trying this post level 15 to see how successful I can become. I know a lot of people are going to be saying stuff about killing new players or killing noobs. But this is maybe a good demonstration of just how easy it can become to find solid gear. I did all this before level 6, and any of this gear I've acquired has simply been using the gear that I spent money on. And I had enough to buy 3 separate solid kits. So have some hope. You only need 1 or 2 good runs and you can really start to get the ball rolling. And every death is a learning experience, as we saw from the very first game of this episode or challenge. So look, thank you all. I appreciate you guys that stopped into the Twitch stream. I cannot thank you enough. I've always enjoyed Twitch and that community and just the hilarity of it. I really want to be able to make that something I do more of. But I also really appreciate you guys on YouTube and all the viewers and all the people that have commented and shared my videos or done things to support this channel. It's hugely appreciative. I can't thank you all enough. And if you have any comments or thoughts on this video, please leave them. I always try to check all the comments on my videos, as basically, if I was asking questions like you guys were, I would always appreciate if the streamer or YouTuber answered them. So, cheers. I'll see you guys all next time. I do hope you enjoyed this video.